Praise Jesus, CGC found my 5 lost slabs. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another CGC reveal video. I've got 5 slabs today, and if you've watched my previous videos, you may have seen that a month or two, probably a couple months back, CGC sent me one of my submissions, and it had 10 slabs in it. But 5 of the slabs that I got back were incorrect. They were not mine. I was really concerned about it. I wasn't super thrilled with the initial response that I got from customer service, but after about 2 months, I am happy to say that I did receive my 5 correct slabs. I sent in the 5 wrong ones, and if you remember, they were some funky type of comics. You had a couple copies of Captain Britain. There was also a United Kingdom variant of Transformers. And so you may not be surprised by this based on those hints, but it turns out that my 5 slabs were sent to London. That's right. So these puppies have they've run through the gamut. They have been around the world. They've been to London and back, and now they are back in my home in Illinois. Thank you, CGC, for making it right. Now, I especially had some help from a friend. Not going to name him because I don't know if he wants to be outed on here, but if you're watching, thank you. Really appreciate you stepping in and helping with CGC to get this process taken care of, because not sure how much of a priority it was for them after just me talking to them. But yeah, major appreciation for your help. And I mentioned last time that I was a little bit disappointed that CGC didn't even offer a credit or anything. They're just like, oh, sorry. They did give me a $50 credit. So props to CGC. Thank you to my friend. Got my 5 slabs, and we're going to share them today. So very first one we got. This is not a Sports Illustrated. Now, this very much looks like a Sports Illustrated on the back, but it's not. The reason that it looks like a Sports Illustrated is because it is a Time Inc. magazine, which, you know, Time Inc. is the same whatever conglomerate that makes Sports Illustrated. So take a look. Britney Spears. This isn't a sports magazine. Sorry to throw you off, but, you know, I like pop culture. Britney Spears was huge when I was growing up. I'm disappointed in this grade. Okay. I only sent this one in because I thought this was a really, really good 9.8 candidate. I projected a 9.6. A 9.0 is ridiculous. This thing, I've looked it over. There were no graders notes. How are you going to give me a 9.0 and there's no graders notes? This thing is a 9.4 at worst. So really undergraded, disappointed. But to be truthful, I'm probably not going to send it back in just because it's not really worth it. This is only worth it if it's a 9.8. And now it's Britney Spears' first People cover. So this is from February 14th, 2000. Too Sexy, Too Soon. Once again, I mean, when I was growing up, Britney Spears was huge. She's maybe a little bit crazy now, but hey, at least at least we have hashtag freed Britney. So People magazine. Huge magazine. It had the largest audience of any magazine back in the early 2000s. Had a circulation of had 3.7 million subscribers, which was more than even Sports Illustrated in its peak. But it had approximately 46 million readers. That's because this was a largely a newsstand type of magazine, whereas Sports Illustrated was primarily read by subscribers. People magazine was more read by people picking it up off the newsstand. This is just a classic magazine that you would see sitting on the rack right by the checkout aisle at, you know, whatever Walmart or whatever store, you know, next to the candy bars, because they're going to try and hook you with what's on the cover and try to get you to pick it up. So once again, this is a subsidiary of Time Inc., which Time Inc., you know, Sports Illustrated, Time Magazine, obviously, used to do Life magazine, and then, you know, People became one of their biggest ones. So Andrew High School is the person who is credited with the idea of People magazine. He was the CEO at Time Inc., used to be the publisher of Life magazine. The first issue of People magazine was put out in 1974, which was 13 months after Life magazine had sunsetted. So Life magazine was huge in, like, you know, 40s, 50s, 60s. It ended in 73, and then in 74 they came up with People. So this is the only copy graded. Once again, disappointed that this came out as a 9. Possible I might throw this one up for sale. We'll see. I do love Brittany, but was hoping for a 9.8 on this one. So can't help but wonder, what did my chap from London think when he opened up his box and, saw some of these magazines? He's probably thinking I'm kind of a weirdo, especially with this one. Makes for quite the mix. All right. Second up, promise the last 4 are sports related, but I'm not going to apologize for a little Britney Spears pop culture action. All right. I love this one right here. This is down my alley. We've got Sports Illustrated China. My guy, Rafael Nadal, SI China, 2008, July 16th, 2008, wearing his white at Wimbledon on that Wimbledon grass, right in the middle of his backhand stroke right there. Just love it. So this is, first off, I projected a 7.5 and I got the 8.0. So very happy with that. This was, if you remember, this was part of a box where I really felt like the grader was very harsh on me. Obviously the Britney Spears shows that. Although this one I got a little bit higher than what I projected, going from a 7.5 to an 8. But this is the first time that Nadal was on a Sports Illustrated cover by himself. He had only been on one other. So Rafael Nadal was only ever on one U.S. United States weekly version of Sports Illustrated, and that was his 2008 cover with Roger Federer. That was released just a few days before this one. Okay. Now he was on 3 Sports Illustrated China covers, and this was the first of his Sports Illustrated China covers, and it's just him, which I think is awesome. So this is from that same match that the U.S. cover shows, that 2008 Wimbledon match. I think the U.S. cover said tennis epic, because it was an absolutely epic match. It's considered to be the greatest tennis match of all time, that 2008 Wimbledon final when Rafael Nadal outlasted Roger Federer, 2 of the all-time greats. And if you've followed my channel for a while, you know that Rafael Nadal is one of my favorite athletes of all time. So I love this cover. This is a major PC item. This is the only copy of this graded, so it is the highest copy out there. And obviously for that reason, there have been no sales. But yeah, look at that. Just beautiful cover there of my guy, Rafa. Love it. All right. 2 down, 3 to go. And let's see. Oh yeah, I was trying to remember what the last 3 were. So this one, we're gonna go with some hoops. We're throwing it back a little bit. This one's almost vintage. Just made the cut on being considered modern by CGC standards, and you can definitely tell by the back that this one's a little bit older. This is going into the 70s, and you can also tell this one's not in great shape. You got some tears right up there, but that's okay, because this is a big time cover right here. We got Magic Johnson, first cover, newsstand. Really, really happy to have this in any grade. This is not an easy one to get. It's from 1978. The Super Softs. So this is Magic Johnson going into his sophomore season at Michigan State. And I projected a 3.0, got a 4.0. So I'll take that absolutely any day. I was looking through the articles on this issue, because I was curious, what's up with the cover? What's up with Magic on the cover in a tuxedo and a top hat? That's kind of unusual. And it was really highlighting on a bunch of star sophomores. And I found a couple really interesting quotes in there talking about Magic Johnson in the headline article for this issue. And it said, Kansas City general manager Joe Axelson says, Johnson could start for anybody in the league tomorrow. And so remember, he had only played his freshman year at Michigan State thus far. Searching for someone to run the Kings offense, Axelson wanted to draft Irvin #1 last spring, but Johnson decided to stay in school at least one more year. Kansas City chose Player of the Year Phil Ford of North Carolina instead, but Axelson still calls Johnson the most exciting college player I've ever seen. I can't believe God created a 6'8" man who can handle the ball like that, nor can many other people. Johnson seems to be Kuzi, Maravich, and Meadowlark Lemon rolled into one fancy passer. I thought that was a pretty cool paragraph talking about a really young Magic Johnson. And so I think his, and it does say first Urban Magic Johnson cover, which is great. So this I think was his last season in college because once again, this is going into his sophomore year. This is November '78. And we know that '79, whatever it was, late March or early April, was the that famous national title game versus Larry Bird, where Michigan State won. And then Magic went on to play for the Lakers later that year in '79. So really, really cool cover. Pop Report, there's only been 24 newsstand copies graded. So this is one of 24 newsstand copies of, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, his first cover. And at the 4.0 level, it's a Pop 1 with 20 higher. So, of course, the majority are higher than this, but you know me, I'm not a grade snob when it comes to the key vintage covers. There is a 9.6 out there, a ton of value out there to that one if that one were to ever hit the market. Now, looking at some previous sales, I did see that a 9.4 sold in October of 2021, so 2 years ago for 10 grand. An 8.0 subscription sold in October of 2022 for $400. A 7.0 newsstand sold on Heritage in November of 2022 for $1,110. So very, very collectible issue here. Even though this is a 4.0, I'd say at least a couple $100 value on this one, but it'll be a PC item for me. All right. Very cool. Love that Magic Johnson first cover. Two left. Both of these are pretty good. We're going back much more modern on this one. This is from 2002. We're sticking with hoops. And this is the first Sports Illustrated cover for Dirk Nowitzki. We got a 9.6. This was one I definitely thought I had a shot at a 9.8. So, little bit of disappointment here that I got the 9.6 instead. But, I can spot one or two really minuscule flaws. So, you know what? I will settle for the 9.6. I think a 9.6 is fair. I projected the 9.6. And Dirk Nowitzki first cover at 9.6 is absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. There's only been 9 newsstand copies graded. This is actually a really sneaky, tough issue to find. And of those 9 graded, there's 3 9.8s. There's now 2 9.6s. Then there's a 9.4, a 9.0, an 8.5, and a 6.5. Dirk was on 4 covers. This, once again, was his first. He's a 14-time All-Star. He won the MVP award in the 06-07 season. He won the 2011 Finals MVP whenever the Mavericks knocked off the Heat super team with LeBron and D. Wade. He's on the All-75 NBA team, and he is the 6th all-time. He's 6th all-time in career points in the NBA. Pretty high. I wouldn't have guessed he was that high. I mean, then again, I think he played 20 seasons, if not 19. He played like 19 or 20 seasons all with the Mavericks. Very impressive. I think he might have broken Kobe's record for most seasons played with one single team. So love this Dirk Nowitzki first cover 9.6. Very, very happy with that. Very happy with that. All right. And I couldn't find any sales on this one. Once again, it's a sneaky tough issue. Very tough to find that Dirk first cover. I mean, when you think about covers and pop counts and how difficult a cover is to track down, you got to think about the athlete on the cover and where they were at that time in their career. you know, what the cover is depicting, and also kind of the era of that Sports Illustrated. And so for that particular issue, that 2002, okay, 2002, I would say was not a peak time of collecting Sports Illustrated. Sports Illustrated was still very, very strong in 2002, but the internet had started to become more prominent by that time. Dirk Nowitzki in 2002 hadn't really blown up to be a massive superstar yet. Like I said, it was 5 years later that he won his first MVP. I think in 2002 he was still balling with Steve Nash, and they were more kind of like first, you know, kind of maybe lower level or mid-level stars. I don't think Dirk had really reached superstar status yet. And so, you know, how many people in 2002 were seeing that random Dirk cover? You know, when was this put out? In May? So I guess this was probably heading into the playoffs is my guess. You know, style points, Dirk Nowitzki and the high scoring Mavericks are the best show in basketball. The Dallas Mavericks aren't exactly like a huge market team, you know, like the New York Knicks or Chicago Bulls or Los Angeles Lakers. So I just don't feel like it's a cover that a ton of people were going and pulling off the rack and saving. And that's why you know, a Dirk Nowitzki first cover, there's so much fewer of them than like the LeBron James first cover that came out the very following year in 2003. Right? Did it come out? No, three might come out too. I'm getting mixed up, but right around the same time, the LeBron cover came out, and there's tons of those. Tons of people got them because there was so much hype with LeBron. There wasn't necessarily a ton of hype with Dirk Nowitzki at that time. So that's why there's 9 covers graded of Dirk Nowitzki's first cover, but there's like 300 plus copies graded of LeBron's first cover. So anyway, sorry, a little rant there. One cover left. This one is the most unique one in the box. This is the coolest one in the box, I think, by far. Look at the background. This is not a Sports Illustrated. This is from 1986. Very cool. Look at this. This is Thrasher magazine from 1986. And you guys recognize that man, don't you? That is a young Tony Hawk. Tony Hawk from 1986. That's freaking cool. Thrasher magazine is by far the most well-known and reputable publication when it comes to skateboarding. The magazine, I believe, put out their first issue in 1981. In fact, I've seen a couple copies of issue number 1 sell on eBay raw for over $1,000, which tells me there's definitely some nostalgia. You know, obviously skateboarding world is not my world. Don't know much about it at all, other than I used to love Tony Hawk Pro Skater on N64. But Tony Hawk was big, man. I mean, he was one of those niche sport guys that kind of transcended and became an international star, you know, an American superstar, despite skateboarding, you know, only being, I would say, mildly popular. And so 1986, you know, young Tony Hawk. Now, I went through all the Thrasher covers from 81 to 86. There was one cover in 81. I think it was the 10th ever issue of Thrasher. So the first issue came out in January 81. In October 81, their 10th issue, Tony Hawk actually was on the cover. He was, what was it? I think he was 13 years old in 1981. He appeared on the cover of Thrasher as a 13-year-old, but that cover had several other people on there. He was kind of like a small picture up on the top. It wasn't like a major Tony Hawk cover. This was the first time that Tony Hawk had like his own Thrasher cover. It's the second time they ever appeared. He was on that one in a real small spot in 81 as a 13-year-old. Didn't appear again until this one in 86. And this was the first time there was just him. So I think this cover is really, really awesome. It's the only copy ever graded. So there's no others in the census. Obviously, been no sales. I projected a 7.0, got the 7.5. Pleased with that. And this will be another PC item that I just think is very unique and very cool. Love the Tony Hawk. So, all right, that's it. Glad I got these 5 back. I wasn't sure if I'd ever see these 5, but once again, they made the trip from London They had some crumpets, and now they're back home, back with me. So thank you for watching. Appreciate likes, appreciate comments, appreciate subscribes. And until the next video, I'll see you guys next time.